The range is not your typical range like the military. Military is very structured by the numbers, safety, safety, safety. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of safety in here. But you play big boy rules out here. The learning curve here is way different than military. Military, you got gear and you're by the numbers, everybody's online. Here, it's very different. It's your big boy rules. You're independent. You're trusted. A lot of trust goes in. You got to know your guy on your left and your guy on your right. This is not your typical range. This is for the more upskill, more for professionals. This is where you develop your skills. If you're prior service, you will sharpen your military skills and your range skills on this range.
In the range here, it's primarily pistol. Yes, they do use assault rifles. They use M16s, AK-47s, Ruger 22 rifles. In the military, I carried an M16A2 service rifle. It's very different than a pistol. I never really shot a pistol just for recreational purposes. I never had to shoot a 6-inch target at 7 meters after being stressed, running push-ups, mountain climbers, jumping jacks, ×4. So this is something that I never even expected for myself to be able to do. This is something you see in some high-speed videos, but it's something that, whether you like it or not, you're going to be able to do it, which is unimaginable day one.
The range, coming from a shooting academy, the range here it's been very intense. There's a lot of things that you can do here that you cannot do back at my range. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of great training. It's a lot of great training. And you're able to come out here and put a lot of rounds down range.
What I could say about the range would be it's far above what I've ever experienced in the past. It's more than just going down there and standing behind a table and shooting at some paper. They have us doing multiple movements, many rounds going down range, various different positions and scenarios presented to us, and it's more than what I ever could have imagined.
We start off with under the theory that it's crawl, walk, run. To that extent, the students are issued target grade .22 caliber pistols. We start with the basics, and I'm talking about the basic fundamentals of shooting. Every class is constructed so that it builds upon the foundation we lay in the first 2 days. As the students progress, then we start to introduce movement, and then now they're expected to have to identify, do I go left, do I go right, do I go front? They're expected to have to react. Then as they continue to progress, we start to introduce clients. Now we have to think about the direction I'm moving. I have to think about my arc of responsibility. I have to think about moving this person. I have to do a job. This can get intense because you have individuals where when a threat is identified, you have 2 people turning and firing towards the target, another one possibly firing and moving, yet a fourth while moving the client away. And your client always doesn't know what's going on, so it's a very challenging environment. Eventually, as trust, confidence, and team cohesiveness develop, we'll start putting instructors, that's us, in between the targets. I believe when you take a look at some of this range video, it's me calling a front. Those are 2 students off any normal class, and I call front, and there's a balloon there and a balloon there, and they shoot out the balloons. This is very important for all students because it provides a very realistic background upon which they're expected to operate. Some people can't do it. Some people cannot take the shot. They just can't. But let's identify that now as opposed to the real world later. The combined live fire exercise that we conclude with, which includes vehicles and long guns and pistols and medical simulations and all that good stuff, it's very complex. The goal here is twofold. Not only is it a shooting exercise with no range fans, which is very stressful for the individual, in addition to being an enormous learning experience, it's also a junior leadership event, meaning you're taking an individual and going, okay, You have vehicles, you have casualty play, you have people with simulated sucking chest wounds, you have multiple men who you have to control, you have explosions in the background, and all of a sudden it's really hard to talk, it's really hard to communicate, it's really hard to maintain control over your team. So all this is going on, and you may have never been in this leadership position before. So not only does it develop your ability to shoot, it also develops your ability to think cleanly and decisively in critical times. We are the only organization that can do this because we're the only organization that has students long enough and has a very structured, tiered approach to this that we can actually pull it off in the end. There's nobody else even touches it.